Let me talk to the men out there listening real quick. Guys, are you suffering from erectile dysfunction, fatigue, decreased muscle tone, lack of energy, low libido, brain fog, sleep disturbances? Hey, low libido, ask your girlfriend or wife. She'll let you know if you're suffering from that or not. That's sex drive. If you'll text my name, Clay, in all caps to 601-327-8550, 601-327-8550, Men's Health of Mississippi and the Clay Edwards Show are going to hook you up with a free testosterone screening. They're located in Madison, Mississippi at 120 Fountains Boulevard. You can check them out online, menshealthms.com. But one more time, text my name, all caps, Clay, to 601-327-8550 and get your free testosterone screening scheduled today. Enjoy the rest of this show. Goes the dynamite, or boom chakalaka boom, whichever one we do for the first hour. You've tuned in to the free-range human show choice, your daily dose of reality radio. This, my friends, is the Clay Edwards Show, and we have a special Thursday co-host. He's been here Tuesday, he's been here Wednesday, and now he's here Thursday, and I guess he'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, it's been a busy week.
Full-time co-host here, Shaun Yurtkuran, here in the studio with us. And look, I can't think of a better person in the history of this city that's alive anyway to discuss what broke yesterday than Shaun Yurtkuran. He went through some very similar stuff with his 10 years as an assistant district attorney in this very Hinds County office that got raided by the FBI yesterday. He's been there when it's been raided by the FBI. I'm correct about that, right?
Well, I was actually at the Attorney General's office, but that was still related to me.
Okay.
Yeah, when that happened in 2016, sure.
So he has a level of experience and expertise, so to say, in this field, probably unlike anybody else that we have access to, or care to have access to, should I say.
Yeah.
So, again, Shaun Yurtkuran. Good morning, Shaun.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody in Jackson except for Chokwe.
Yeah. Good morning to everybody except the drug dealers and strippers. Good night to them.
Good night to them. Yeah.
I forgot who said that. Was it Cat Williams?
I think so.
All right, man. Look, if y'all want to chime in this morning, I mean, look, we've been doing this for almost 4 years now. February, man, really about January 20th-ish. Will be 4 years we've been doing this radio show. It's been about 5+ years, almost 6, since I started the Save Jackson social media platforms. And the mission, since that all began, at the end of the day, one was to get Donald Trump back in office, do our little part there. B, the main mission was to get Chokwe Anta Lumumba and the gang of Free the Land thugs removed from office and hopefully arrested.
Yeah, I wanted to say something real quick about that vein to you and T.A.S. and Kingfish, who have done a great job on the Anthony Fox case over the years, and he's free, and that's great. I saw him on social media yesterday. You can tell, he was pretty happy about it. I think that's one of the great things about independent media. Something like that caused enough noise. That situation that was so bad that and y'all were part of that. I think reversal.
Well, thank you. Yeah, they set a great example of what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of laid the groundwork. All I had to do was just keep it between the bumpers, and I didn't do a good job of that necessarily. I kind of blazed my own path, but they were definitely highly influential and still are to this day. Still two people that I trust in this game more than anybody.
Yeah.
And they've been great mentors to me, willingly or unwillingly at times. So I definitely appreciate the path they've blazed ahead of me. Yeah. And I appreciate them kind of welcoming me in with open arms. And that's kind of the cool thing, too, is there was never this, you're the competition, we're going to keep you down over here. It was always a cooperative thing.
Well, that's the kind of people they are. I've known T.A.S. and Kingfish way before we've ever met, you and I did, and just being in this. And to both of them, both of them had my back during the whole Robert stuff, that was going on in 2016. Both of them were standing on the right side of history on that. So, they always seem to be on that side. So.
Yeah, and I'd be very remiss if I didn't mention Kim Wade.
Yeah, and Kim too, man. I texted him yesterday. He was ready to go yesterday afternoon.
He's been doing this longer than any of us, 30+ years.
Yep.
On the radio here in central Mississippi. And then on a different level, Jamison Haygood. I mean, these guys we're just talking about people that have helped me out along the way. Thank y'all. Kim beats that drum loudly in the afternoons. So this has been a long time coming. We're on the cusp, if rumors are true, of mass arrest,
yeah,
of political well, not political figures, of politicians in Hinds County and Jackson. Can we just lump it all together and say Hinds County?
Yeah, I guess we'd say that. Yeah.
So we don't have to say Hinds,
Since
Jackson.
the DA's office is involved, sure.
DA's office, allegedly the mayor's office, and a couple city council people.
I'm hearing 3 city council people. That's a new information. I don't know if that's true or not, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that. Have you heard 3? I just heard
2 total.
Okay, 2 total. Okay.
But, yeah.
Somebody that's kind of in the know texted me and said he's heard it's 3. It could be wrong.
Well, I mean, would it surprise you if it was all 5 or 6?
No, absolutely not.
I mean, at the end of the day, it wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me if it's all of them. We don't know what all this is about. So if you're just tuning in, you're late to the party, you don't follow social media. About 8:30 yesterday morning, we started getting in some breaking news. We were trying to verify it. So at about 7:30, 7:15, FBI agents raided the Hinds County District Attorney's office, Jody Owens. Mm-hmm. There was something very in particular they were looking for there.
Yeah, I mean, what I can say, I think it was just his office in the DA's office, not the entire office, just his office.
Just his office and his place of business, the downtown cigar shop.
Which I think is important for the audience to know about, that just his office, because, there's a lot of assistant DAs that work there that, they're not part of this or whatever it's alleged. We don't know what it is. And having been on that side and been working there when something like this had happened, there's a lot of innocent folks sitting around there, and I feel for them a lot. Yeah,
let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater here, because I'm gonna tell you, in all these rumors and innuendo that I've heard going around, I have not heard anything else about another person at the DA's office.
Right. Yeah, me either.
So, but the political class, the ruling class, there's about to be some upheaval there.
Yeah,
it may be today, it may be 6 months from now. You know what I mean? But Kim Wade said this yesterday. You and I said it. I said it on multiple live streams, but I'm going to repeat it because it's the first time I've had a chance to on the radio. Mm-hmm. And this is the mothership. This is the biggest platform I got. So, Shaun, for a black politician, Democrat, in the state of Mississippi, or frankly in America, but especially Mississippi, where they really seem to rally around these folks because we're a red state, and they kind of put them in a cocoon and protect them. Mm-hmm. For a black politician, Democrat, to get raided by the FBI under a Joe Biden DOJ and FBI in an election year, it had to be so egregious that they couldn't run protection anymore.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. I mean, for them to do, you got to think about this in context too. And I had so many phone calls with people that are federal court practitioners, dealt with the FBI. I've dealt with the FBI. For them to do this, it's a statement. It is a heck of a statement. You go in and you raid the district attorney's office, and then you go into City Hall, and they went there twice. I actually saw that reported this morning.
Oh, yeah, they went and saw Dr. Amare, the real mayor.
You go down and you take down the political class of a city in an FBI raid, which is just kind of like a movie, basically, what happened yesterday.
The blackest city in America.
Exactly. No, I think that's part of it, too, with the Joe Biden administration and Justice Department, and they you're taking a step. That's something you get from D.C., I'm guessing, is a kind of, you get the okay to do that. And you better have your ducks in a row. I bet they do. So whatever they've got, I'm assuming, and this is a consensus with tons of lawyers I talked to yesterday, that whatever they do, it's airtight, because this wouldn't happen if it wasn't.
Tell people real quick something you've explained to me. When the feds come, they've already got it, right?
Yeah, generally, when the feds come, go to this extent, they've got you. I mean, we were working with them during the Robert Smith stuff, and that didn't become a federal crime. It was because I don't know that they ever really had enough, but they had the state. So we, in the Attorney General's office, indicted him through a state charge of hindering prosecution back in 2016. And but the feds were still working on the case, but they wait till they have everything, and they didn't just have everything in that case, which is almost 10 years ago now. But apparently now they do, or whatever it is, and that's why they raided. I remember I was telling some of this story yesterday. We were sitting in the Attorney General's office with the FBI and during the Robert Smith stuff, and one of the agents said, we're going to go in tomorrow and we're going to raid the DA's office. We're going to take everything out, and we were, of course. The rest of us were happy about that, considering what was going on. And then they said April Fools. It happened to be April 1st. And, we were like, man, that's the best April Fools and worst one joke I've ever had played on me. And they couldn't do that at that time. And but obviously yesterday they did. And I mean, I think that's anybody that does this. I think that's telling you that this is dead serious. Serious as it gets.
Let's take a call. We got Derek on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Derek, you there? Ooh, we got major phone issue there. Derek, try calling back, please, brother. I want to hear what you got to say. Yeah, so, Shaun, to your point, when the feds come, Kim Wade told me something great yesterday. We got Derek back, but I want to say this real quick. Kim Wade told me something yesterday. He said there's a saying, when the DA comes after you, it's because of a crime.
Yeah.
When the feds come after you, it's because they're coming for you, and they'll find the crime.
That's a really, Kim, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, they'll get you, you know. I mean, it's the only time I've seen it where, in this state where they haven't, one really good example is one I use all the time about Oliver Diaz. But, man, when they got you, they got you. It's tough.
All right, on the Mazda Jackson phone line, we got Derek on the air. Hey, brother.
Hey, brother, I think that was your line. I had full signal.
Yeah, it very well could have been.
Well, go ahead and give a disclaimer. I'm about to be controversial. So, are you ready?
Always.
Hey, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, crap, they done made gay Polo a deal.
You're not the only person to say that, I promise. That's my gut is that's probably not what happened.
I don't think so.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just being funny, but you can't.
But it is fun to think.
Yeah, but you can't. You know, he warned us about that guy a long time ago.
You know,
but let me add this. Let
me say this real quick, and then we'll move on from Polo. Obviously, I have my gripes with him, and he made it personal when it didn't have to be. But he was not always wrong. He was right way more than he was wrong about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll give the devil his due. He was not wrong all the time. And frankly, he was right more than he was wrong. He's kind of like Alex Jones in a sense. People might not like the messenger, but he was right a lot. And then, of course, he, sent himself up the river. But neither here nor there. Derek, the floor's yours.
Hey, well, I just wanted to say this. I add this to the discussion. Do you think just maybe these little sweetheart deals that people like him and the mayor have allegedly been getting for trying the wrong people and then turn around and suing those entities, you think that done caught up with them?
To me, that's the type of situation that makes the most sense.
Yeah. Like with the crucifying of
Anthony Fox.
Fictional Anthony Fox. Yeah. Do you think that sooner or later they was going to get one of these slick willy tort lawyers to sue the city, and then they go in some back room somewhere? 1, 2, 3 for you, 1, 2, 3 for me, type of thing. You think that finally caught up with them?
I don't know if that's what it is, but to me that makes as much sense as anything. That's the weird thing about this is we don't know exactly what it is. We don't know if it's directly tied to the Anthony Fox stuff or if that was just a linchpin that gave them the excuse to start snooping around these folks. Does it have something to do with the garbage? Does it have something to do with the minority set-aside contractor stuff? Where does Jody Owens fit in with the mayor if the rumors are true? Where does Jody Owens, the D.A., fit in with the city council if any of these rumors about us all being tied together are true? It's a weird puzzle to try to put together.
Then you got the Marshawn Chrysler stuff still going on. Is it all connected? We just don't know.
I know, and there's that infamous picture that has resurfaced of Marshawn, the mayor, a couple alleged former drug dealers, air quotes in the studio around former drug dealers. Let's see here. Who else was in that photo? Jody Owens.
Wasn't Batman in the photo?
It wasn't Batman. It was another dude. All down there at Jody's cigar shop. So
yeah, because they got raided too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be. It's very interesting. They've been doing this, and Kim's been talking about this a lot. They're doing it right in front of our faces and daring us to do something about it. And somebody finally said, "I'll be a huckleberry."
Yeah. Well, let me ask Shaun Yurtkuran this real quick. Hey, Shaun, you worked under Shula Smith, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
I've always wanted to know, and I actually confronted Shula Smith on the radio and in public about it, and called him a cheaty, coward, and a worthless human being to his face before he died. But why did y'all not actually
you cut out
around this time that year?
Hey, you cut out right as you said whatever the key part was there. Repeat the question.
Why didn't y'all ask for the death penalty when that guy killed that Bassmaster that was fishing that tournament?
I know exactly which one that happened in 2014-ish, I think. Yeah. I don't recall. I didn't have that case. We did seek the death penalty case.
Just passed. Yeah.
Yeah, in the case that I had with involving James Hutto, but I don't know. I wasn't privy to those conversations. It wasn't on my docket. I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't even remember what happened with it. I mean, I just remember Tom.
Yeah, that's how I got on the conservative radar when I.
Well, Derek, we lost you, brother. Thank you for the call.
What I'll say to Derek, the death penalty is a really tricky thing to seek. It's very expensive, and my course all that time I was there, we only saw it on one case, which is a case that I tried in 2013, and I don't think they've actually tried a death penalty case since then. And before I tried my case in 2013, I think there was one in 2003. So maybe 2 in 20 years. It's not a very common practice in Hinds County to seek the death penalty, because it's, and I'm not saying it's a common practice everywhere. It's just it's a expensive endeavor and it's very time consuming.
All right, let's take a break. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran. If you guys want to call in, 601-879-0002 is the Mazda of Jackson phone line. If you want to shoot a text into the show, you got any questions for Shaun about any of this, anything from me, comments, suggestions, or more, the Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. We will be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Here with Shaun Yurtkuran on a Thursday in Central Mississippi. Guys, last night was round 3 of the cordless corner competition at Burgers Blues Barbecue in downtown Flowood. It was the biggest crowd yet, the best competition yet, and next week is going to be even bigger and even better. We're down. It went to a sudden death overtime last night because we had a tie for the last 2 people in the transfer position to go on the next week. So we went to sudden death. They had 2 minutes each to play the best they could throw at us. And, man, I'm going to tell you what, and we let crowd noise pick the winner. Us judges chickened out. I told them we should have just flipped a coin. I got overruled. We actually got live performance, so the audience got the better of the deal. Anyway, so that was awesome, but it was unexpected. It could have gone either way. Either way. Congratulations to the people who transferred over into next week. We're down to 7, and y'all get out there next Wednesday night, 7 to 10 p.m. I mean, I've never seen Burgers Blues Barbecue this packed, and that's my little honey hole, as y'all know. They got the little B3 bar, the little dive bar up in the front corner. You got the restaurant if you want to separate from all that, more family-friendly, and then you got the patio, which is where we're doing the big event every Wednesday night. It's like a open mic night. Everybody gets to do 3 songs. We judge. They're playing for cash prizes, studio recording deals, concert appearances, everything. It's a lot of good opportunities for these folks, and they are absolutely killing it. So get out there next Wednesday night. But in the meantime, get to Burgers Blues Barbecue, man. Make sure you know they got the Flowood location open. They're serving breakfast right this second till 10:30. They've also got that third shift happy hour going right now if you're just getting off work at one of the hospitals or just woke up, in a mood. Go there, get you a $4 mimosa, $4 Bloody Mary, or $1 off draft beer. Sit out on the patio. The weather's nice. Looks like it's clearing up. Man, we had some rain come through last night. I was supposed to get my yard cut today. It does not look like that's going to happen. Get over to Burgers Blues Barbecue. Try one of their award-winning burgers. Try the $10 smash burger deal of the month. Or get the Blue Plate Special. They have hamburger steak every day with an alternating meat. Some days it's fried pork chop. Some days it's meatloaf. Some days it's hamburgers. Some days it's country fried steak, fried fish, several different things. You can check out their full menu, burgersblues.com. Shaun Yurtkuran.
I was going to say, so yesterday after we got all this information, while we were on air, we were getting sources, leaking this. And so after the show, I went, I was assigned, I'm going to play investigative journalist for a moment, just for fun. I had a free morning. And so I looked up Chokwe's house on a land roll, where he lived. I thought he lived over on Pear Orchard. I think he used to live over there. And but I looked it up, and he lives like 3 minutes from my house, actually. He's on Ridgewood Road in this gated community, which that's kind of funny, I thought, in a way, too. It's a really big old house. I went out there, and it's like next to like Northminster Baptist Church on Ridgewood, right off of Lakeland, not very far. Yeah. And so I get out there, and I see a WJTV guy with a camera, Richard. I can't remember his last name, but I've seen him on TV before. And I asked him, I said, you heard the same thing I did? He's like, FBI raid? I was like, yeah, that's what I heard. So apparently everybody had gotten that information. We're waiting to see if the feds were going to raid Chokwe's house. But I didn't see them when we were there, and he hung around a little longer than I did.
Yeah, so you and I have heard even as late as last night, that arrests are imminent.
Yeah.
And it's going to be glorious. I'm just going to tell y'all, wherever I'm at, whether it's here on this radio show, I'm just telling you, if the news breaks at 5 minutes to 9, whoever's coming on at 10 ain't coming on. Mm-hmm. I'm hijacking the show.
Yeah.
And we're going to go wall to wall with coverage, whether I'm here, I'm at my house, I'm on the side of the road, wherever. I got my device with me. I'm never more than a button away from going live. So apparently you can't go live on TikTok while you're driving down the road. I learned that yesterday. I got a 24-hour TikTok ban for doing live while driving. I wasn't holding the phone doing it. I just had it up on the dash and running my mouth, but apparently that's frowned upon. So neither here nor there. But yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to celebrate, and that's what I was getting at in the first part of the show before we kind of went down a rabbit hole. Is that's been the mission of this show. That's been the mission of Save Jackson. People are always like, "Hey, how you going to save Jackson? What are you doing to save Jackson?" Man, I'm beating the drum, uncovering corruption as loudly as I can. Am I an investigative journalist? No. But when I hear stuff and when stuff happens, we use this megaphone. I know we have a lot of law enforcement that listen. I use this megaphone to beat the drum consistently, as loudly as possible, because what's going to save Jackson more than anything else they could possibly do, other than the state take it over and bring in the National Guard permanently, is wholesale leadership change.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a chance, if all this stuff shakes out, you're going to have a chance to get some good folks in there. Mm-hmm. And if rumors are true about the city council people who are allegedly wrapped up in this, it's going to eliminate one, maybe two potential mayoral candidates.
Sure. I mean, remember yesterday you and I were on the phone, and I mean, it's kind of easy to get. You kind of get emotional about this, and the reason I'm saying that is this is the biggest news I think that's happened here as long as I can ever remember being involved in.
Since Frank Melton got arrested.
Yeah, and this is bigger. I think this is bigger than that.
Well, this is bigger because Jackson's at such a pivot point. Mm-hmm. Like if the wind blows too much one way, it's over.
Exactly, and I think that's right. But it kind of, you and I were talking about kind of being happy about it for a moment because it like gives us some hope.
Yeah,
like we've got hope again. Like it, this week's stories, if everybody remembers, was started off with third graders can't read in Jackson, like half of them. And, we know where that leads to crime, a life of crime. That's where that goes.
And who's responsible for that at the end of the day?
Chokwe Anta Lumumba.
Chokwe.
That's exactly who's responsible. He's responsible for the crime epidemic. I had a black police chief, I'm not going to say where, call me up yesterday and said, he's like, Shaun, you know that Chokwe has got so much blood on his hands of what he's done to this city. And I said, yeah. And and the reason I bring that up is because it's not just white people talking about this. This is white and black people. He's destroyed our city. Absolutely destroyed it. And everybody's mad about it. And this finally gives us a chance that this is over, with him and the rest.
Shaun, since he took office in 2017, granted he took office in July, but I'm just going to lump the whole year there on him. In 2017, there were 64 homicides.
Yeah.
18, 84. 19, 83. 20, 133. 21, 160. 22, 138, 23, 118, and 2024 currently, it's either 47 or 48, which puts us, since he took office, or at least since 2017, 827 or 28 murders, depending on where Jackson's at today. By the end of his term in 2025, Jackson will be over 1,000 murders, and that's just ones that count as quote-unquote homicides. Mm-hmm. In the city of Jackson since Chokwe became mayor. And as far as I'm concerned, that's blood on his hands. That's 90+% of those are black men.
1,000 people.
1,000 people over an 8-year span.
It's like the war in Iraq.
Well, if it was anything other than black on black crime, we would call it what it is, genocide.
It essentially is. And this is because, this is a man who's allowed that to happen. He's allowed the gangs to run a part of the city. The gangs are running the part of the city. Part of the city you grew up in.
Yeah. Oh, it's gone. You throw a match on South Jackson. I mean, the houses are more condemned. There's more condemned homes than not. They may be living in them, but they should be condemned. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no businesses standing. It is like, I would love to see an aerial photo of South Jackson 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. and an aerial photo of South Jackson today, it's going to look like a forest fire went over it.
Yeah. 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 I mean, just driving around, you can see that's exactly what it looked like.
I mean, it's going to look like a burned out forest fire went over. Even the grass don't live in South Jackson.
Well, I mean, it's like the Detroit and RoboCop over there right now. And I mean, it looks like that's what Chokwe is allowed to happen. I don't remember. I'm not saying South Jackson was good in 2010 when I worked at the DA's office, but I don't remember when I was over there a lot because that's what, I did for a living. It was a lot of crime, but it wasn't run by the gangs. So this has happened in the last 7 years because this man has allowed it to happen. And there's a lot of...
He hasn't allowed it to happen. He has facilitated it.
It's a better way of putting it. He's facilitated it.
I mean, this is not an accident. This is 100% by design. Mm-hmm. And the audacity of this man to talk all this blackety black race stuff like he does constantly. Mm-hmm. And then the second he gets a little money, he runs to the whitest part of Jackson he can get to.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking yesterday, Clay, I think I texted you. I was like, man, there's more black people live around me than him. Like,
you live in Belhaven.
I live in Belhaven. And he's I'm like, he's in this gated mansion. And I'm like, you know what I mean? That's kind of what I was telling a reporter. I kind of cussed and I was like, this is where this dude lives? Like, come on. I mean, man of the people. I mean, please give me a break.
On the Guns and Gear text line, Frisco asked a quick synopsis of what we're talking about. Jody Owens, the Hinds County D.A, got his personal office at the DA's office and his business raided by the FBI yesterday. Strong indication from very credible sources suggests that several more arrests are imminent and that the mayor is allegedly tied to all this and could be one of them. So we are speculating ahead a little bit as to what will happen if the mayor gets arrested and the hope that should give the city of Jackson. But there's going to be probably more than 50% of Jacksonians who can't say nothing but, what about Brett Favre? At least learn how to spell Favre right if y'all are going to say that. We'll be right back with Shaun Yurtkuran. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. This segment is going to be brought to you by our friends over at Noel Daniels Motor Company. You just heard the ad there. Man, get over there and see those guys today. I shared a photo, and you can see it on their Facebook or go to the website, noeldaniels.cars. If you're in the model for a late model Toyota 4Runner, Tacoma, I think maybe even a Tundra, man, they have got a huge selection of late, low-mileage Toyotas. Why go buy brand new when you can go save thousands on a low-mileage pre-owned? Get over there today at Crossgates. Check them out. They've even got one of those fluorescent nuclear green-looking 4Runners, the TRD Pros, I think it is. Really, really cool. It's on their website today, noeldaniels.cars. Over 50 years in the car business. That's Mr. Noel Daniels, a living legend himself. Get over there to see him, Daniel Freeman, and the whole team today. Check them out online, noeldaniels.cars. Also, check out their Icon golf carts and scooters. Really neat stuff. They have another fluorescent green one that Bo Rogel just did a bunch of custom work on one of those golf carts. It's got all this neon green, lift kits, the whole 9 yards. Really, really cool. Check it out. noeldaniels.cars. Let's go to the Mazda Jackson phone line. We got a caller. Hey, you're on there.
What are you knuckleheads doing?
Kingfish. How are you?
Oh, act like something happened yesterday.
Yeah. What do you think about it all?
I started hearing some rumblings. There's rumors going around, what's today, Thursday, Tuesday. Oh, the mayor's going to be indicted. But, you hear that kind of crap every so often, and it's like, okay. And my attitude always is, I'll believe it when I see it. Nice to hear about, speculate about, but until it happens. Years ago, I used to hear, for several years, I'd hear Socrates is going to get indicted, and he never was. That's basically my attitude. Yesterday, didn't know that was coming with Jody Owens. That was a big surprise. Knew about the cigar bar. Not a good look if you're in law enforcement on a bar, I know Jody, I'd say that to him, but it's not a good look because no matter how you can run that bar as clean as possible, because you've been in the bar business, and there's always going to be something happen. Just the nature of people some people that go to bars, etc. Alcohol's involved. Somebody's always going to be trying to sneak in drugs. I mean, it doesn't matter how well you run it. Something's going to happen. So if you're in law enforcement, you really shouldn't be owning a bar, period.
Yeah.
And I like cigars. I like a good Fuentes.
Kingfish, though, I'd ask you that, like, during the Socrates, I know I heard those rumors for years, too, but they never raided his office, as far as I'm concerned, and they did go to the mayor's office twice.
No, and by the way, and it's Socrates, don't get mad. I'm just saying, I hear rumors all the time like that, and my attitude now is, when it happens, then I'll believe it. Until then, okay, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can say this now. Shaun and I were told last week that this was coming.
Yeah.
Again, it wasn't the Jody Owens part, but it was something big is coming to
that I heard
to the political class in Hinds County here in the next week or so. And it was
now,
we had the same.
There's two things that happened like recently that y'all left out. Way back a few months ago, I think December or whatever, I covered a little street, not street punk, but a little punk named Tenari Moore. Remember him?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he had gotten busted by the feds on some stuff. They had done a raid of his house, and if you look at the charges and just look what he pleaded guilty to, it's a big disparity, which makes you wonder. Well, on May 20th, his sentencing was postponed, and they didn't put a sentencing date either. Okay, it's just postponed. It's open. And then also on the 17th, Torrance Mayfield his case was continued, and my understanding is he had been working for the D.A.'s office. So, you know, when you see these little bit players, then of course you got the Marshawn Chrysler case coming out there. I mean,
and Kingfish, I'll relate that to
read between the lines.
I'll relate that to Ivan Johnson back in 2016 when the feds actually continued his sentencing. He was, I don't know if you know this, Ivan Johnson was a coworker of mine, assistant district attorney in Hinds County, and he was convicted of, I forget exactly what the federal crime was, but he was taking money to reduce bonds. And
and for the listeners, the reason why they do that is because once you're sentenced, I mean, you get that sweet sentence out of that deal, then you can renege on it. If you haven't testified yet, then you can turn around and renege on it. Well, this is how they keep you from reneging on it. And by the way, Polo, I seriously doubt any of this came from Polo because, yeah, he might have been right about some things. But Polo, nobody was ever dumb enough to take him into their inner circle. He was more like somebody they would just pay to go dump trash on their opponents or people they didn't like. That's why his information sometimes was so good. But they're not going to sit there and trust him with stuff like that. And plus, Polo has been caught lying so many times, too, and plus he's up for murder. Nobody would believe him at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much the feds can do with his state murder charge unless, like, a new Hinds County D.A. would, I don't know if they're going to, you got a victim's family. That's a hard thing to reduce.
Right now?
What now?
Would you believe anything the guy says?
No,
right
absolutely
now?
not. I mean, I don't think that they were going to entertain that with him, and especially considering his charge. I mean, you got a victim's family. You can't just, the feds, reduce, the feds don't have the power to do it. The state would have to do it. And then, you have to tell the victim's family we're giving him a, manslaughter deal in exchange for his testimony. That's kind of hard sell to somebody whose loved one was killed. You can't really do that easily. It's different if you had like some dope case out there that you get rid of, but it's a different situation.
No, Polo's not a player in this. He's out.
Kingfish, circle back to the Tenari Moore stuff and explain to us how those things could be related to Jody. Like, how do you tie that together for that to initiate a potential some corruption? Do what?
Or he's tied more to Chokwe or more he used to be.
Okay, good deal. Good. I was trying to piece that puzzle together.
In fact, if you remember when Chokwe first became mayor, he was caught with Tenari was caught with a firearm up in Madison County, and the charge just kind of disappeared. But when he had his initial appearance, guess who showed up with him at the initial appearance? But you got it, the mayor. And this was after he became mayor, not while he was an attorney. Okay, just like within a few months after he became mayor. So Tenari, I think then he used to run the upper level club or something like that. I mean, early on when Chokwe was mayor, he was running an illegal strip club over there on Northside Drive, if you remember.
Yeah,
remember that?
Same guy.
Yeah. Okay, that is. That's right.
That's doing it, but they didn't care.
I always called him Tenaris, so I've been saying it wrong. So that is the same guy. I thought it was. Okay.
Yeah, but then I went, and so then they did a raid out there on his house in Bolton. They found a bunch of stuff. But then when you look at what he pleaded guilty to, I have to go back and look at my post. I mean, it was, you go, wait a second, that's it? Well, now you see why, because that's my speculation is they postponed the sentencing 2 days ago. I mean, literally 2 days before the raid. Well,
Which is what they did with Ivan Johnson when they continued his sentencing until he testified against Robert Smith in the state trial, which he did, and then he was eventually, I think.
I think if I was going to guesstimate, I would say Torrance Mayfield. That postponement would be more likely to be related to this, to what happened yesterday. Tenari Moore, I would probably say, is more likely, linked to the mayor, not the DA.
And for our listeners out there, may remember the Frank Melton era, where Frank went to war with the people that owned the upper level. That's Tenari Moore.
Those are Frank Melton's competitors.
Yeah. So, but it just to put a little history in perspective there. That was the night that the paddy wagon was out there and all the chaos ensued.
Yeah.
And all that. That's who it was involving. So these are people who have been characters in the scene around here for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, this all goes back, and that's what my assumption is. This goes back a long way. This is not just current events. And anybody that's familiar with Jackson criminal history and all that kind of stuff, this is the roots are deep here.
Yeah.
Carrying what I'm hearing. So.
As far as, what I heard yesterday was going to be one, possibly two members of the council.
Yep.
And I think it suffices to say it ain't the honkies.
You don't think Ashby was taking money?
it ain't the crackers on the council, and I'm pretty sure it's not Stokes because
I don't think it's Stokes either.
Yeah,
no.
Stokes doesn't.
No way. I would be totally shocked if it were. I cannot see that.
Yeah, it ain't Stokes, and I don't think the attack of the Cracker Packer are smart enough to be involved or trusted enough to be involved in the shenanigans.
Now I'm just going to speculate here. Now I don't know any information, nothing inside, no nothing. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm just theorizing. Okay, so just everybody relax. The rumors are flying around. But suppose say the council had some problems, needed some help, and so in exchange for some votes or a vote or two, maybe an executive and someone in the executive branch who might be friends with a prosecutor was able to make it go away in exchange for some votes being the.
Yeah,
heard
that story too.
A DUI.
No, it's a little bit bigger than that.
I'm just speculating. There's other possibilities here. We could have robbery. Possible allegedly robbery and kickbacks here.
Yeah.
And by the way, the mayor has come out and said, you accuse me of taking a kickback or something on the Richards contract, I'm going to sue you. He's flat out said that. I'm going to sue you.
Yeah.
So everybody be aware of that.
Yeah. All right, Kingfish, got to take a break, man. Nice. Thanks. Good stuff.
All right. Bye.
All right. Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran. Appreciate Kingfish, JacksonJambalaya.com, calling in there with a little bit of insight. We'll be right back to land the plane for hour one. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show, here with Shaun Yurtkuran. Last couple of minutes of the first hour. Shaun, I want to circle back to a conversation that we were having with Kingfish there, where he brought up the Tenari Moore and some of these other drug dealers or alleged drug dealers, whatever. These, what we'll call these hood superstars.
Yeah.
These guys that grew up on the streets in Jackson, made names for themselves, all this stuff. And then you got these kind of what we'll call suburban black dudes that didn't grow up like that. They didn't grow up on the streets.
Right.
And just it appears to me, as a guy that grew up in the middle of all this stuff, I know it offends y'all when I say this stuff, but I was the white guy that grew up in South Jackson and stayed my butt in South Jackson. I was the white guy that grew up on Lynch Street. Now, I still got to go home to my little enclave, so I wasn't growing up in the heart of West Jackson on the streets, banging in the hood, but I had a front row seat for it. I was as close as you could get. And I'm telling y'all, I ain't built for this stuff. These dudes, but you looked up to these at a certain point in life with rap music and just growing up in the culture. You catch yourself looking up to these drug dealers, these people who do bad things for a living. And you kind of get caught up in you wanting to make that money, you want to be around those girls, you want to do all that, you want that respect that came with that. And that's what I believe Jody Owens and Chokwe are trying to accomplish. We'll be right back with more Hour 2. Boom, shakalaka boom. It's Hour 2 of the most incendiary show on radio. This, my friends, is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards. He is Shaun Yurtkuran, and we are live on 103.9 FM WYAB. It is Hour 2. Man, we've hit the ground running in an epic show today as far as breaking news over the last 24 hours goes. I mean, at the end of the day, my roots is Save Jackson and Hinds County. We've got a lot going on around the country, around the world. But the thought of the chickens coming home to roost and the political class finally getting what they got coming in Hinds County and Jackson it's like a shot of hopium, Shaun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, just put it in my veins. Just, and like I said, being a political refugee that had to seek asylum from a crazy dictator in Rankin County, or seek asylum in Rankin County from a crazy dictator in Hinds County, like a guy like me is like, man, if this happens, maybe I can move back to Jackson at some point.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can have a city again, you know, like a functioning city. If this is all gone, I mean, you got to think about it, man. If this is all about money and power or whatever, payoffs,
it is.
Yeah, payoffs. I mean, these guys are elected to serve the public, and they haven't served them very well. I mean, other than, I'll say this in Jody's defense, and I've told you this yesterday, I think the DA's office has done a really excellent, other than the Anthony Fox case, like they've done a lot better, far better job than his predecessor, my former boss, Mr. Smith. He's done a good job. So I was really shocked by this as to him. Chokwe, I was not shocked at all.
Well, so we talked about this a little yesterday. They got a nice little roll on high profile cases and getting their big convictions and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I told you somebody sent this to me, and I just feel like it's worth fleshing out here a little bit. But what about the cases they're not prosecuting, or they're just choosing to let time out? What's it called? Let the statute of limitations run out on stuff like that. Like let's just say they're rolling with dope boys and people are getting arrested and that stuff's going away.
Yeah, I guess that could happen. I don't know what their procedures are for process. I think it's a little bit more, what I'm aware of, it's a little bit more regimented than it was in the past when I was there. Yeah. Now I think they've got an electronic system where it goes from JPD to the DA, which is really good. Good. He's implemented some stuff there that when our office, it was, paper files would come over there. And then there was a system around 2010 called Paper Vision where we'd actually scan the paper files. And so they're all there.
So somebody could audit all that.
Yeah, I think it'd be tough for them to, for him to just not, get rid of the file. Now, Robert's office, he had, MBN files sitting in his office. Nobody knew where those things were going. So, I mean, there was a lot of different ways to finagle things, I think, in that situation. I think it's a little different now. So I don't know what he's accused of doing in relation to the D. It may be nothing in relation to, maybe something else differently. I don't know.
And I want to be clear. I'm not accusing them of doing that.
Yeah.
But I've gotten messages from people saying, here's what's happening, here's what's happening, here's what's happening. And I think this is a way to kind of clear up those, or at least give people an answer. Can it happen? It's not as likely as it may seem.
Yeah, it was a lot more likely in the past, and which it did happen. I mean, you saw, like I mentioned in the last hour, Ivan Johnson, who pled guilty to taking money for, I think he was reducing bonds or something like that, if I remember correctly. And then, with the allegations against my old boss, Mr. Smith, or, the dope boys were paying him off. And I'll be honest with you, he was very close to a lot of them. And they used to hang out at the DA's office. I saw that daily. And which was kind of crazy. I was telling you off air, you're working at the district attorney's office and drug dealers are hanging out at the DA's office. And I don't know what goes on in Jody's office. I assume that doesn't happen, but this is what I observed when I was there. And it's a very weird thing. You work at the DA's office and there's like the dude, is like one of the biggest drug dealers in the city is hanging out. So, I was talking to somebody yesterday and I said, I mean, do you think that kind of thing happens in Madison, Rankin? Like drug dealers are going to hang out with Bubba? Like, no, that's not happening. But back when in our time it was. So I don't know. It's very curious to what, I don't know what. And, Jody's office seems a lot more professional than ours was. And they've just done things that seems, the right way, except for, my opinion on Anthony Fox. But so I don't know what I wouldn't think there's dope dealers just chilling at the DA's office like there was 10 years ago. But, I guess we'll all find out here pretty soon.
I want to circle back to my rant in that last segment of the first hour about the kind of this ghetto superstar, hood superstar, looking up to these guys rant. Jody and Chokwe are studio gangsters. Mm-hmm. They're Drake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They ain't from the street. They ain't Kendrick Lamar. That's why they're not Tupac. They're not Biggie. I mean, those are guys who came up hungry. You know,
yeah.
These guys came up idolizing these dudes, and they'd run to the hood on the weekends and play gangster. You know, one of them went to private school.
Yeah, I think Jody did. Jody St. Joe. I think that's right.
I think that's right. One of them went to private school.
Chokwe went to Murrah, as far as I know, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to go to Murrah. I'll at least give him credit for being a JPS. He went to Murrah.
I believe he did, yeah.
I'll at least give him credit for being a JPS grad. But let's just be honest. I mean, his dad was a bit of a legend.
Yeah, his dad was a fantastic
I don't know his
attorney.
financial situation. I'm guessing he was, they weren't on welfare.
No, his dad did very well. He was a very good attorney. He was, but the, I remember when I was in the DA's office, this was around 2013 or 2014, I got real serious about writing my book about my experiences at that time. And I used to hang out at the Starbucks in Maywood Mart right there across from Whole Foods. And I don't even know if Whole Foods was open yet. I used to see Chokwe in there all the time, by the way. And he wasn't the same guy he is on TV now. He's sitting there hanging out at Starbucks with.
First off, let's just talk about one of the obvious things. To tell you Chokwe ain't no gangster. He dresses up like a gay banana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, he wears skinny jeans. He dresses up like a gay banana. He just does some really questionable things. It just ain't G. I mean, maybe the modern definition of a G, but he ain't no 90s G.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean,
he ain't no 2000s G.
I mean, and when you dealt with him professionally, and even personally, not that we were great friends or anything, I just knew him, and he's just not. He wasn't the same guy that you would have ever thought, that became this. And you just wouldn't have thought that. You'd have liked him, actually, Clay, before. You'd be like, wow, this guy's all right, dude.
I never cared for the bourgeoisies.
He was a little bougie, I guess, maybe. But he had a lot of money, I'm sure. Grew up a lot of money. So.
Yeah. I'm a man of the people, Shaun. I don't hang out with people with money.
Okay. But, but to your point, no, my old boss, and I was having a conversation with several people about this yesterday, Robert Smith was from those neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So he knew all those folks and, rolled like that with them and kind of came up with them. But no, Chokwe is did not grow up like him. No.
All right. So let's paint a picture for people. Jody gets picked up yesterday.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very ominous, and you brought this up, but I'm going to steal your thunder a little bit here. They normally, when these black for a living folks get arrested or they get called out, they get raided, whatever, they are running as fast as they can to the quickest pulpit or podium to scream racism and to declare their innocence and scream to the rooftops that it's a manhunt, they ain't do nothing, all that stuff. I mean, look at Fannie Willis as the most recent example. She couldn't get in front of the church quick enough to let everybody know that it was racism is why people were questioning her morals and ethics. Jody Owens, to his defense or to his credit, man, he ain't said nothing.
Yeah, I don't. As far as I know, he wasn't arrested or anything. It was just the raid on the.
He ain't said nothing. The DA's office released a statement on his personal Facebook page that says they are fully cooperating with the investigation.
Yeah, that's what it said. I mean, for sure. I would assume he and the mayor would make statements today. You would think, being that. As far as we know, the information is the district attorney's office and his businesses were raided, as well as the city hall. And the FBI agents came there not once but twice.
Yeah.
So I think under those circumstances, you'd expect to hear some sort of statement from the both of them publicly. We haven't heard that yet. Maybe that'll come today. I just kind of equated it back to when Robert Smith was arrested. And by the way, by our friend Bo Lucky and Lee McDivitt, if he listens over in Rankin County. Was arrested that day. He immediately, made one that night and kind of professing the things you did, you just said. So I don't know. Maybe that comes today. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting day, I think.
If I'm Chokwe, I don't say anything. I mean, they visited him. You know, they didn't execute a raid yet. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say anything because I wouldn't breathe oxygen into it. That seems to be his MO.
Yeah,
is sticking his head in the sand and pretending things ain't happening. Mm-hmm. I would expect no different from him. Jody's different. I think you've got a public trust issue here, and as a DA, you've got to say something.
Yeah, I think he's at the position when the FBI raids your office that you need to address the public in some manner, and explain to them what maybe what occurred. So, and I would have thought that would have happened last night. Maybe it comes today. I guess we'll wait and see. And we can, it may change. He may come out publicly, and
Yeah, I mean, look, maybe they had a conversation with him. Took him that way. You say that office off 220?
Yeah, I think the FBI. I think it's off 220.
Or what about downtown? I don't think they're downtown.
I don't know if they're downtown. Somebody probably knows. I'm not sure. I think they're off 220, but I could be wrong.
I like 220 for the sake of this conversation.
Okay.
It's a little more isolated. They take him for a ride. Say, hey man, we're gonna go have a conversation, brother.
Yeah.
They get him in a room. They show him what they got. Say, look, we got you. You done effed up, right?
I've heard of them doing that to other people before, yeah. So I actually know they have. So I don't think that could be what's happening. I guess
you done effed up, right?
Yeah.
What's that movie?
Which one is that?
You done effed up, right?
I can't remember.
I forget. It's one of those movies where he just listens. He's like, was it Training Day?
Oh, I think so. Now that's going to drive me crazy. I have to Google that.
Yeah, I had to go. He's like, you done effed up, right? And of course they don't say effed up. They say the full word. And like, look. We got you. You're looking at. Well, I'm just going to pick a big number here. You're looking at 150 years in jail. Mm-hmm. Here's what we need. You don't think you don't think Studio Gangsta didn't give them what they needed?
Yeah. I mean, if that scenario occurred, I would assume so.
Yeah.
I mean, I would.
I'm just going to tell y'all, don't break no crimes with me. I'm snitching.
Yeah, I mean, I would if they approached me with that scenario, I would be like, Clay did it.
I'm gonna go from your co-defendant to the prosecution star witness.
He's skimming money for the FAFO shirts, everything. He did it all. Like that's what I would be doing. He did it.
Right.
You need somebody else. Kingfish, he's in it too. I don't care. Everybody's getting thrown.
Yeah, I'm loading everybody under the bus. Free press did it.
Kim Wade started it. Whatever you want.
It was an insurrection. I got the text message just to prove it.
Yeah, that's right. Get Jameson Haygood. Y'all hear him on the radio. He was part of it. I mean, everybody's getting involved.
Trump did it.
Trump. I'm throwing him in. I mean, because they'll indict him. We know that. So.
Surely there's some Democrat in this room that will believe that.
Yeah.
Sitting on the edge of their seat. Tell me more about Trump.
Trump told me this. Trump introduced me to the dope boys. He did.
So I'm getting conflicting reports that it was either Boys in the Hood or Menace to Society.
Okay.
Kenneth says Boys in the Hood. Corey comes with a full quote from Menace to Society. He says, you definitely bought beer at 11 o'clock. You done effed up, right? Menace to Society. So Lane says we have broken the live stream.
Oh.
So welcome to the party. Yeah. If you're new here, this is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran and, of course, Clay Edwards on WYAB. Guys, if you're looking for somewhere to eat today, how about let's do two pizza reads real quick.
Okay.
If you're looking for lunch, you're in Gluckstadt, Johnny's Pizza. They got small pizzas and a drink combos for lunch starting as low as $6.99. Of course, they have soup, salads, subs, sandwiches, all kind of other good stuff there as well. $6.99. I just can't get over how inexpensive that is for fresh, made from scratch, good pizza with real toppings. If you're in, and that's right there at Gluckstadt, right in front of Mack Hike Chevrolet Dodge and all that, right over by Germantown High School. Then, if you are in the mood for more of a bar kind of setting or family setting, whatever, Acme Pizza covers a lot of different atmospheres depending on what time you get there. If you're in the mood for Acme Pizza and Daiquiris for dinner, 4 p.m. to midnight, 7 days a week, they're open there in Flowood or Reservoir Rankin, right there at Fannin Mart, right in front of the bowling alley, Fannin Lanes. It's available on all major food delivery apps. Dine in, carry out, and delivery. That's Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. 12 different specialty pizzas, 9 different frozen daiquiris. Check them both out. I love pizza. And I know Chip does offer at Acme, they offer a cauliflower pizza crust. If you're dieting, you're doing the keto thing like I am. Shout out to everybody that has said I've inspired them, and 3 or 4 different people have thanked me for getting them rolling. Thank you all for listening to my crazy butt, and congratulations, and you're going to start feeling better. But so they have the cauliflower crust at Acme, and over at Johnny's they have the pizza pans, like dishes without a crust in it, pizza bake. So try that out. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We will be right back. Come back into the Clay Edwards Show. You guys just heard that A1 Gear and Auto ad. Man, I had to get my daughter's car towed over there the other day, and it's the BMW just keeps on doing BMW stuff. Anyway, it had a bad alternator. Justin calls me, gives me the bad news. I was hoping it was a battery. So he tells me it's an alternator, tells me how much it's going to cost. I went and had to get a line of credit. I'm kidding. Man, just don't buy BMW. I can't say it loud enough. I don't even know if you want to call this an A1 Gear ad or just an anti-BMW rant. But don't buy BMW, period, ever. I knew better. But, you try to make your kids happy. So, BMW, got a new alternator on it, running great. Thank you, A1 Gear and Auto. But my point being that I thought it was going to take a day or two. I approved the work that morning. 3 or 4 hours later, he texts me, "Car's ready." I'm like, dang. I was like, I'll come over and pay when it's done. I had no idea it was going to be done so quick. Here I am, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, driving over to Florence to pay for this thing. But got it done so quick. That's my point. Done right, done quick. Got the called to make sure after they picked it up that it was running good and all that, running perfect down the road. So, look, man, I can't co-sign on a place any better than telling you I send my kid's vehicle there. And I trust them with the repairs. You can, too. Located on Highway 49 South in Florence, Mississippi. Whether it's a check engine light, an alternator on a BMW, which that ain't just some regular alternator. I promise. You have to take half the engine compartment apart to get to it. Whether it's that, your air conditioner not working, heat not blowing, your front end components, rear end components, gears, ring, pinion, all that stuff, they got you covered. A1 Gear and Auto, Florence, Mississippi, Highway 49 South, big white building, big red sign, locally owned, locally operated, good God-fearing folks over there. You go see Justin and his team today. Shaun.
I was thinking about this yesterday. You and I had that long conversation about how there was some hope, for Jackson, that maybe the political class is being broken up and we can, maybe rebuild the city from the disaster that's happened. I also thought about, so we were happy about that. And I was thinking about somebody else that must have been really happy yesterday. It was Brian Bailey. He's like, "Hey, the FBI? Where? Oh, wait, they're in Hinds County, like not over here." He's like that. What you tell me that Homer Simpson meme, like going into the
where Homer backs into the bushes.
Yeah,
it's like finally somebody. I knew it wouldn't take him long to figure out a way to screw things up over there.
Yeah, he's like, "Oof, it's off me."
I mean, what? Think about that. There's been all this rampant speculation that the FBI was going to raid the sheriff's department. We've been hearing that for months. We've even heard they were there at points.
Yeah,
and obviously none of that's happened.
No,
and what has happened is Jackson gone Jackson.
I mean,
while they were in town for one thing, they've apparently found something else that caught their attention.
Yeah, I mean, has that ever? And this is something probably for Kingfish to look up or to rest. I wonder what major or capital city, let's go with that, has the D.A.'s office and the mayor's office been raided in the same day? Like, where is that? Have we made history here on that happening? Because I don't. Or if, let's say this, let's play this out this way. Let's say that the district attorney is indicted by the federal, by the feds, and that the mayor is, and that the 2 council people are. Has that ever happened? Now, I know that there's been city councils, people that have been indicted. There's been the board of supervisors in Rankin County back in the 80s.
The whole thing went to jail.
Yeah. But has there ever been when it's been in different, they're all executive branch, but like you're talking about the DA, the mayor, the council, you know what I mean? Like, has that ever happened, that kind of...
I would love to compare what the Rankin County Board of Supervisors went to prison for in the 80s to the daily operations of the Jackson City Council.
Yeah, I don't remember what, I remember I knew David Clark when he was alive briefly, but I don't remember what the what they went to. I mean, I'm sure it was something they're taking money. I'm guessing that's what people usually go to jail for when you're elected officials, taking money. I mean, we can just make our speculation here that this involves some sort of financial transaction. I assume with what's going on.
Well, if you're doing felony favors, it better.
Yeah, I mean,
at the end of the day, I mean, if you're running the risk of going to jail for something, you better be getting. You might as well go ahead and knock off the corruption side of it too.
Because, I mean, what you're talking about here with reason I say that, play this out, you're not just talking about one sector of government. You're talking about, it's like almost all of government is getting taken down, except for I'm surprised the Hinds County Board of Supervisors is not thrown in. That's the only thing that's missing piece from this.
Hold on. There is speculation that one of them may be involved.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is an upheaval of government in a county and a city like I've never heard of before. I mean, I'm going to do some research and see if this has happened to this massive scale.
So, yeah, because the culture's so rotten in Jackson, what this will do is actually convert Jody from a studio gangster to a certified gangster in the eyes of Jacksonians.
You know what? I think you're probably right there. I think that like this, I remember, and I'm going to I equate everything back to the whole Robert Smith stuff that I went through, and he was on the radio. I told you this story before. It's funny that I always say how much I like Kenneth Stokes because 10 years ago he called me a slave master on the radio when we went after Robert, and the radio stations were praising him, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not trying to keep jumping on him. I know he's deceased now, but the things that we saw were obviously quite different, to what they were kind of propounding on that. So maybe that will happen. I mean, I've seen it before.
All right, let's read some texts on the Guns and Gear text line. They've been piling in. Hey, I want to say something real quick. I just got some really good news in, completely unrelated. This is personal, but I'm going to tell y'all, one of my good friends, Chops, has been on a waiting list to get a liver. Just got the news that they got it, and he's on his way to Ochsner's in New Orleans to get the transplant.
That is amazing. I've talked to him a few months ago, actually. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, I forgot some bad news over the weekend that he was still on the waiting list, and I was like, man, what do you do, and prayed about it, actually. Yeah. That's what you do about it, and just got the text that he is en route to Ochsner's now, and man, that's exciting.
That's great.
That's
great
exciting.
To hear that.
So let me see. I'm trying to compose myself a little bit. That's really good news. Been lifelong friends with him. All right, so unknown texture. I think this is John. John says they need to dig into Credell Calhoun. Well, they could look, man. If they just started digging into all these cats, past, present, and future, you ain't thinking about running, you're going to jail. Only crooks seem to do it. So let's see. Jay from the Res. Y'all should find a picture of Chokwe in high school and post it on your Facebook page. That's we'll find his high school reunion book, not reunion, but his high school annual. Yeah, they still have those.
Where if anybody wants to I do this a lot on just because I looked for the old pictures of my house. My house was built in 1929 in Belhaven. If you go to newspapers.com, you can do a 7-day free trial and search the Clarence Ledger. And I bet if you type his name in, there's probably a picture of him 1990 something. You'll be surprised if you plug your own name in the stuff you'll find, that were in the paper back then. So you might be able to look there.
Here's a little tidbit about probably the largest roundup in Mississippi payoffs and coverage. It says Operation Pretense was a 1980s Federal Bureau undercover investigation of corruption and county purchasing in Mississippi. The investigation resulted in 56 of the state's 410 county supervisors either being convicted by a jury or pleading guilty to various felonies.
Ooh, that is bigger. Yeah, I guess that's statewide.
Yeah,
with all these
golly. 56 of the 410 got convicted.
That's something.
If there's a special election, does Kim Wade become mayor?
I guess we can kind of play this out now. If what happens if there's a vacancy in the mayor's office and the city council spots, which I guess that's a little different. I mean, I don't know who's going to run for those, or in the district attorney's office, who would be potential candidates for those offices. Kim, I texted Kim yesterday. I said, well, now's your time, buddy. And he's like, you think? I think Kim's got a pathway now.
I think so too, because I think just about everybody else, him and Corinthian probably have the cleanest hands here. Because I think everybody on there has probably got something they don't want dug up.
Yeah, I mean, Kim's already released everything about him. I mean, you just got to listen to his show. Everybody knows. You know.
I was thinking, that's why I put everything out there. I'm like, you're not digging up anything on me.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know,
I'm just going to tell you. I'm not going to sit here and repeat everything. There's no point in it. But it's all on tape if you want to find anything out about me. Woodrow says Harry Lee owned many bars and clubs in NOLA in the 80s and 90s, and he was a good sheriff considering. Well, I think there's a difference in being the sheriff and being the DA.
yeah.
I think because the DA can decide if they press charges on you or not.
Correct. Yes.
And
they choose who to indict.
The sheriff, there's at least a bumper there. The DA can tell the sheriff no.
Yeah, I mean, the sheriff's office brings a case, the police department, the DA can choose to take it to the grand jury and no bill it, which means dismiss it basically, or to true bill it, which means to indict it. So if they can, the DA gets to decide that. And well, the grand jury, I say in quote, gets to decide it, but you know,
they kind of do what the DA wants.
Pretty
right?
much, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
Michelle on the Guns of Gear text line. Hey Clay, you can get that aerial photo from using Google Earth Pro. There is a clock icon that shows historical photos of the area you search. If anybody wants to put that together for me, I would like an aerial photo from as far back as you can get it with Google Earth to current over McDowell Road area, South Jackson. And I bet you it looks like a cancer or a forest fire took out all the greenery, the homes, the businesses. I guarantee it looks like a war tore through there.
And if they could do one on President Street of City Hall, because I bet it looks similar to that.
Yep. Let's see here. Corinthian says, do you think this has to do with the Marshawn Chrysler indictment? Man, I mean, it's awfully convenient, right?
Yeah, it is. It's similar players, you know, in that. Whatchamacallit. But they haven't, you know, Marshawn's case is not, I've told this, full disclosure, I'm friends with Marshawn, and I like him very much. And, you know, hasn't really seen movement on that, you know.
Again, it goes, the confusion for me, and Kingfish actually cleared it up a lot. The confusion for me is, how do you tie these? What is the DA doing finagling with the city council?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. How is Chokwe and Jody connected in one, in
a conspiracy of sorts?
It seems like it has to be connected, and that's the reason they did all this on the same day.
And the suggestion from Kingfish was maybe allegedly just suggesting, no inside information, that maybe there was something that needed to go away from a criminal perspective that could be swapped out for a vote down the road.
That's what, I've been relayed to me.
That makes a lot of sense. Just what is that thing?
What's that? Yeah, what's the federal crime there? I don't know. Maybe some sort of honest services fraud or something, I would guess.
And what was it a vote for?
Yeah, and
is it garbage?
And did Chokwe do something for Jody in return? There's still a lot of speculation here. Nobody really knows. I mean, until all this comes out, I'm sure. From what I'm sure you've been told, I've been told that this is going to be coming out pretty shortly. Yeah. And I think it would have to, considering there was just this massive raid. Maybe there's a grand jury scheduled for in this month or next month. So.
No, and the one scheduled for in a couple of weeks on the coast?
Something like that. That's what I've heard.
All right, let's take a break. We got Shaun Yurtkuran here breaking this down unlike anybody else is going to have the ability to, based on his experience at the DA's office with Robert Schuler Smith and kind of going through the same thing. We'll read more text. Phone line's wide open. 601-879-0002 is the Mazda of Jackson phone line. I know I've left a couple of you on hold, but feel free to call back. Clay Edwards Show here with Shaun Yurtkuran on WYAB. Guys, Lakeland Glass and Tint. Holler at them today for all of your automotive window replacement and repair needs, your windshield replacement and repair needs, automotive, home, or business window tinting needs, as well as automotive ceramic coating and vehicle wraps. Turn that car, truck, SUV, van, golf cart, whatever, into a rolling billboard. They're trusted by most of the state agencies here in Mississippi to do all their wraps on their vehicles, Capitol Police, multiple Sheriff's Department, police departments across the state, businesses, and more. That's LakelandGlassandTint.com for a quote today. Located right out there in Flowood, Mississippi, and expanding soon, a little birdie told me. So check out LakelandGlassandTint.com.
Yeah, I'm going to steal your thunder now. Something you told me yesterday, since you stole mine earlier. You brought up Capitol Police right there, and you said yesterday on the phone, you said, can you imagine if there's a mayor that's a partner with law enforcement, like Capitol Police and JPD, maybe possibly keeping Chief Wade in place because it seems like he's trying to do his best.
And let him take the handcuffs off.
How amazingly the trajectory of the city could change just in that one thing. Yeah. If that were to happen, because we've seen it, and the reason I'm not just making this up, we've seen it in the CCID. I'm actually living through it, so we've seen that. What if you could translate that to the entire city, and just change it if you actually had a partner? I know Frank Melton had his problems, but somebody like Frank Melton would have been like, let's be a partner with law enforcement. I think, if you had something like that, not with the other things Frank did. But,
I'm gonna say something controversial.
Yeah. No, really? I can't believe it.
I guess I should really start saying I'm going to say something not controversial.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something right in line of what I say every day. I don't care if Frank Melton was a drug dealer. Mm-hmm. I don't care if Frank Melton was going after his competition. At least we were consolidating.
Yeah.
You ain't never heard about Frank killing nobody.
No.
Yeah,
I heard some other bad rumors too, though.
Oh, there were. There's the other stuff, but and if he did that, he's rotting in hell.
Yeah,
I mean he's paying the price if those rumors are true. Look, I remember Frank more fondly as time has coming because of Chokwe.
Well, especially the last 20 years, since Frank, you're like, oh my God, what has happened here?
Frank's JPD actively tried to put me out of business. Mm-hmm. I was, the upper level in Sonoras was not the only place they were going after.
Yeah, they were equal opportunity.
It was the strip clubs. It was the regular nightclubs. He didn't want people. If he was a drug dealer, he didn't want people spending money anywhere else. Mm-hmm. I just believe that if Frank was really a drug dealer, that somebody would have cracked by now.
Yeah, there were so many stories about that. One time, I remember we had a deposition of one guy that had said that Frank used to do airdrops at Hawkins Field, and that's where he'd get his dope. And then, of course, that ended up being a lie because the guy was like in juvenile detention when he said he saw all this. So I don't know. I never saw anything that proved that one way or the other. I think
that's an example of an urban legend.
Yeah,
that it's almost just fun to say at this point.
That's right. I think it was. But yeah, I think your point yesterday was really right, though, that the partnership with somebody like that, or that's law enforcement minded, could just unleash, could remove the criminal element out of the city, and we could, finally grow. Maybe people can move back. Maybe
or you push them to one area, mm-hmm. and then you treat it a bit like a free range prison.
Yeah, right.
Like
that movie.
If we've established that South Jackson is the least savable area, mm-hmm. let's focus on the other areas and force the rats to one area, mm-hmm. and then we basically treat the exits to that area like they're walls, like they're borders. Mm-hmm. You have roadblocks, not all the time 24/7 like you're going east and west Germany.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's not a bad idea.
But you have heavy police. Like if they want to leave South Jackson coming down McDowell Road, well, you make that stretch from Terry Road to the interstate a 911 obstacle course.
Yeah,
that's like you better be riding as clean as you can if you leave in the city. If you're leaving your little area of Palestine here, if you're leaving the Jacktown Gaza Strip,
the Gaza Strip.
If you're coming into Israel, you better be coming clean. Mm-hmm. And that's the way you treat it. If they're heading Terry Road, University Boulevard, down heading north, down towards 220 from McDowell, same thing. You better be coming correct. You're coming through here. If they want to go north, south past Savannah Street, where it goes from 4-lane to 2-lane on Terry Road, where there's still a bunch of good homeowners and stuff, where my family lives, going towards Byram, son, the road chokes right there. It's Savannah. It goes from 4 to 2, and right there. It's death race.
Yeah,
you just put these choke points.
No,
where if they leave this area, you make sure they ain't bringing no nonsense into the other areas. You basically move the river inland.
Yeah, you better have a valid driver's license and not an expired tag, insurance, and we're not and those kinds of things. And if you police it like that, which I think. A strong mayor. We've got the strong police chief, and we got Capitol Police. I think we can get that done.
Bring back profiling, bring back stop and frisk. All that stuff. Like if you're leaving South Jackson, why are you leaving? That's probable cause right there. I mean, I don't hate to say this. Actually, I get joy out of saying these things. Some people say I hate to say it, but not me. I love saying this kind of stuff. And I just think that's what you do is you push the criminal element to where basically they want to be, where the people want to, where they bout that life. Maybe it's too much for just one area, because I know there's this area of Northside Drive and Medgar Evers and kind of where like that California Avenue area.
Yeah, sure.
They bout that life over there too.
But I think you could clean that area up. I think that's savable over there, maybe.
We are not on the same boat there.
I mean, more savable than South Jackson is right now.
But same thing, it's like if you're coming into downtown, well, all your entry points, we're going to be watching.
Like, I mean, I drive on Medgar Evers every day I come to the show, and I don't feel if the show was over, I had to go cross South Jackson, I might not come. You know what I mean?
Shaun, there was literally a guy killed at a red light here at the corner of Medgar Evers and 49 and Bowling Street in his car yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, a couple murders here and there, I get it. I mean, I prosecuted several murders that happened on Medgar Evers. I mean, I know there's crime there. I just think it's easier to fix that area than it is South Jackson at this point. I think it's easier to fix the Queens.
Well, you need to try to fix this area because it's where the industrial park in Jackson is.
Yeah.
I mean, that needs to be a safe area.
I mean, and I think, but like to your point, I think there's things you can do to control crimes in those areas. But South Jackson may be unsavable, and you make that the Hunger Games or whatever you want out there, and that's fine with me. I mean, whatever it is.
If you're coming into the medical district, Fondren, whatever you want to call it, Bellhaven, I mean, you better be flying straight. Your blinkers better work. Your car better be proper equipment. The whole 9 yards.
And all that can happen with possibly a new mayor, that, and hopefully that looks like that is a very big possibility based on yesterday's events. Hopefully we're all praying that our friends at the Federal Bureau of Investigation have solved this problem for us. And, maybe that'll happen. The
next time some Jacksonians want to file a lawsuit against the city for doing roadblocks, they just come up missing. They end up in a room on 220. And you show them what you got. Show them what you got. Maybe you say, look, we're the feds. We'll find the crime.
This is the first time a conservative talk station has praised the FBI in a long time, right?
I still don't trust them.
But in this instance, you're like, this is cool, I
mean, they had clear directive to kill Donald Trump in the Mar-a-Lago raid. So I ain't giving them no pass. I ain't giving them no pass. They had clear directive to kill Donald Trump and Secret Service agents in the Mar-a-Lago raid, and that's factual.
Yeah.
So I ain't giving the FBI a pass at all. Let's take a break. Come back and land the plane for the day. Back into the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, real quick, got a text in here, a little last-minute traffic stuff. 55 and I-20 going north at the stack is a parking lot, which that sucks. I'm going to be riding through there in a little bit. Hopefully it's not a parking lot by the time I get through there. Let's see here. Other text messages. My cousin Kitty said, just a couple murders here and there. Nothing to see.
That's true. I mean, just used it. I mean, whatever.
Let's see here. Who's this? Wild Bill says, back in 2001, not long before the state flag vote, many of us went with the black Confederate impressionist Anthony Hervey to Jackson City Hall for a demonstration. And one of my friends was wearing a black cowboy hat, and Stokes called him out and got into a confrontation with him, called him a slave master.
Called me one, too, so I guess I'm in the same boat.
You're in good company.
He called my other friend that was with me, too, who was actually black. He called him a slave master, too, so that was kind of funny.
Blake says, if all the city council and the mayor are arrested, can we talk Tater into appointing Kim Wade as mayor? Yeah, I don't know
I don't know how it works in the mayor's how that they're replaced. I know the D.A. Tate would get the appointment for that, but I don't know about mayor.
We got less than a minute, Shaun. Who should be the next D.A. if Jody has to be replaced?
There's several good people that I think I'm gonna throw his name out. He might get mad, but my buddy Yemi Kings, who's a county prosecutor, I think would be an excellent D.A. I like Darla Palmer a lot personally. I think she'd do a good job. Stan Alexander's a good man. He's a great prosecutor. So those three would be my first people. I don't know. Gerald Mumford's a good guy too. I think he would do a good job. So I got 4 names.
Thank you. See y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yep.